Call the meeting to order. Oops, there we go. Call the meeting to disorder. Just before I ask for the minutes, just for the folks at home, you might think this is like the Outer Limits. You're seeing something different. I'm the acting mayor, and Mayor Corrigan is out of town on holidays for a well-deserved holiday, so Councillor Nick Balko is sitting in as the acting mayor. And now if I can have a motion on the minutes of the previous meeting, September the 14th. Moved, seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, and carried. And a motion to hear delegations. Councillor McDonnell, seconded by Councillor Wang. All those in favor, opposed, and carried. And we have one delegation this evening, Dr. Michelle Tarko from the Justice Institute of BC. Oh, the hammer. I put the hammer down. Yeah.
Thank you, Worship. Thank you, Councillors. It's a real honor and privilege for me to be here on behalf of the Office of the President. This is part of my outreach to reach out to mayors and city councils. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Really close. Okay. Yeah, Your Worship, Councillors, it's an honor and privilege to be here this evening on behalf of the Justice Institute. This is part of my outreach in reaching out to different cities and municipalities throughout the Lower Mainland to talk about what we're doing at the Justice Institute that you may be aware of or you may not be aware of. I've got a short video of 4 minutes to share with you, and then I'll have some concluding comments and time for questions.
The Justice Institute of British Columbia fulfills a vital role, providing innovative education, training, and applied research to keep communities safe. Every year, more than 34,000 students take our rigorous programs and courses, or complete customized training in public safety. On our 7 BC campuses, face-to-face or through technology-enabled online learning in communities around the province, across Canada and the world, our students learn from expert instructors who are active in their professional fields.
One of the secrets of training public safety professionals is that you have to use scenarios. You have to experience it to understand the interplay, dealing with the public, dealing with a patient, dealing with individuals in stressful situations.
For the benefit of applied research is that it's real, it's practical, it's hands-on, and it can really improve current practice.
That real-life simulation training was very beneficial to me when I got to my workplace. It was a key to my success.
So when the day comes that our graduates are needed in the community, they're ready.
You get the opportunity of actually applying what you're learning and asking questions, which gives you just a whole different meaning to what you're doing.
Since JIBC was founded as a public post-secondary institution in 1978, we have grown and evolved. JIBC provides world-class police, corrections, sheriffs, paramedic, and firefighting education and training. And we do much more in areas such as emergency management, conflict resolution, Aboriginal studies, and driver training.
As an instructor, when I come in, if something's going on out there that's different than what we're teaching in the program, the Justice Institute of BC is willing to change that program to meet the needs of the workers out in the field.
have excellent quality in terms of teachers, and they're doing research, they are practicing at the same time.
You really connect, with your instructors. They're approachable, they're intelligent, and they'll work really, really hard to make sure that your needs are put first and you're going to get to where you want to go.
Our programs lead to certificates, diplomas, bachelor's degrees, and graduate credentials. What's most important is our graduates make a difference every day.
So being a paramedic is an extremely rewarding and exciting experience. You really get to get in there, help some people on possibly the worst day of their lives, and really make a change.
Myself, I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference in the families I work with, the communities, and the youth.
I consider myself a lifelong learner. I think it's really important to continue your professional development, and JIBC offers that for me.
I've never found a place that is more understanding and willing to support you in your education goals and in your career goals.
Feeling of accomplishment after you complete the course is, amazing. You really feel like you've done something.
You're going to get the education with academics, you're going to get the education with scenarios, and you're going to get it from people who practice it in the field, do it for real life, and do it today, so that when you come out tomorrow, you're going to be confident in your ability.
JIBC, Canada's leading public safety educator. Go to www.jibc.ca to learn more.
With the video, basically what I'd like to say is that although we have a provincial mandate to provide training and education and applied research, we're also reaching out to business and industry as it relates to ways that we can support priorities municipal government. When I think about small business and industry, our emergency management division is probably one of the areas that has the most potential to support some of your training needs. For example, any business continuity plan that hasn't been exercised might be a starting point that we can work with small businesses and industry to support keeping communities safe. As you heard in the video, we have 30,000 students who come through the Institute annually, but I want to be clear that of the 30,000, 3,000 are actually full-time students. The other 27,000 reflect the continuing education or continuing professional studies that we offer. So it's a bit misleading that we're not a UBC or an SFU. We're very proud of being an institute. We're not intending to be a university in any way, although all of our programs relate to public safety and everything ladders into something else. So for example, if you have a certificate of 1 year, that will ladder into a diploma program. If you have a diploma under your belt, that can ladder into a bachelor's degree. We've moved into the space of graduate certificates. Two primary areas are in the area of intelligence analysis, and that's really preparing analysts to filter data for decision makers in the future. We're also in the space of complex trauma, and that seems to be attractive to folks in the counseling and community service area. So with that, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to share our video, to just tell you a little bit more about the Justice Institute and what we're doing to support public safety in British Columbia. And I see we have a lot of new folks who've just come in, so thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Tarko, for coming, and as you pointed out, I'm sure there's a number of graduates from the JI in attendance this evening. Any questions from Council? Seeing none, I'd like to thank you. I notice in your letter that you're making looks like a provincial tour going around talking to communities, so I wish you well in that, and again, thank you very much for coming and informing us on the work of the JI.
Thank you so much.
And if I can have a motion on bringing forward reports and the manager's reports. Councillor McDonnell, Councillor Johnson, all those in favour, opposed and carried, and a motion to resolve into a committee of the whole. Moved, seconded, all those in favour, opposed and carried. And on reports, the first report from the Community Heritage Commission, and this is in regards to the Burnaby Remembers Program. Councillor Jordan, your committee.
Mr. Mayor, the recommendation from the Heritage Commission is that Council approve an expenditure of up to $1,500 for the Burnaby Remembers Program as outlined in this report, and I would so move.
Moved and seconded.
And as the report says this is our annual program associated with the Remembrance Day, November 11th activities in the city, and the major portion of this is for the publication of the Burnaby Remembers Honor Roll in the newspapers and the displays and other things that we do in coordination with the community for Remembrance Day and our two services in the north and the south.
All right, thank you, Councillor Jordan. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, carried. And the second item again from the Community Heritage Commission, Councillor Jordan.
Thank you. This one is the Heritage BC Annual Conference, and the recommendation is that Council authorize an expenditure of up to $3,500 for Community Heritage Commission members to attend the Heritage BC Annual Conference to be held in Rossland on October 1st to 3rd. And I would so move.
Moved, seconded, Councillor Johnson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, and carried. Item C, Executive Committee of Council, and Councillor Dhaliwal.
Thank you, Your Worship. On behalf of the Executive Committee, I move the following two recommendations. That Council approve the proposed 2016 lease grants for community resource centres as outlined in Attachment 1, and that Council authorize staff to make the appropriate 2016 lease renewal arrangements with Hold'em, Edmonds, Brentwood, Metrotown, and Pioneer Community Resource Centres tenants.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion, Councillor Dhaliwal?
Yes, I just wanted to, Your Worship, I just wanted to point out to its Attachment 1, which is Table 1, in the report on the 21. Your Worship, it's worthwhile noticing that this year, our total grant to the community organizations that we very much appreciate them working out of these locations, providing very valuable service, is the total contributions from the city, from taxpayer, is $260,068 and some change. So that's a fair amount of support, Your Worship. Most of the organizations do get half of the lease paid by the city, and they pay the other half, and some organizations pay 25%, and that is depending on how many members they have. So this is a much needed support for these organizations. I'll give you a couple of ones which are pretty, I guess they've been around for a while. Burnaby Family Life, Burnaby Neighborhood House, for example, and many, similarly, a few other organizations out of these resort centers, Your Worship. So that's my report. I just wanted to highlight that there's a fair amount of tax support that we provide to our community organizations, but it's worthwhile work that they do. We certainly appreciate it.
Great, thank you, Councillor Dhaliwal. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor, opposed, and carried. And the next report, item D, the Executive Committee of Council grants, and again, Councillor Dhaliwal.
Thank you. These are the applications that came our way, Your Worship. The first one was number 1550, Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research. The recommendation is that this grant application be denied.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, carried.
Item number 1551, Big Sisters of BC Lower Mainland, and the recommendation is that a grant in the amount of $4,000 be awarded to Big Sisters of BC Lower Mainland in support of mentoring programs provided by the organization.
Moved and seconded. No discussion. All those in favor, opposed, carried.
Item 1552A is a Christmas luncheon dinner grant. Recommendation is that a grant of amount of $7 per person be awarded to senior groups applying for the 2015 Christmas dinner this year.
Moved, seconded. All those in favor, opposed, carried.
Item 1553, BC Lacrosse application. Recommendation is that a grant in the amount of $875 be awarded to the BC Lacrosse Association in support of travel expenses for the Burnaby resident players to compete in the 2015 Canadian Lacrosse National Championships.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And 1556, Royal Canadian Legion, number 148. It's a Remembrance Day ceremony, Your Worship. Recommendation is that an in-kind grant up to the amount of $990 be awarded to the Royal Canadian Legion 148 to cover facility rentals at Confederation Park for a reception following the ceremony at the Cenotaph on Remembrance Day 2015.
Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Opposed?
And
Carried.
finally, Your Worship, Royal Canadian Legion 148. 148, I believe that's yes, that's in kind. Yes, yes. So that an in-kind grant up to amount of $6,000 be awarded to Royal Canadian Legion 148 to assist with the cost of obtaining tents, chairs, and PA system for use at the Confederation Park Cenotaph on Remembrance Day 2015.
Moved, seconded. Councillor McDonnell. All those in favor? Opposed? And carried.
That's the end of those grants, Your Worship.
Councillor Dhaliwal, on the next report, Financial Management Committee, and Councillor Johnson.
Your Worship, on behalf of the committee, I would move that Council authorize staff to bring down a capital reserve bylaw in the amount of $109,950, inclusive of GST, to finance two projects as outlined in the report.
Seconded.
Your Worship, this is for two small ticket items: an outreach van to be used by the library for outreach services, pop-up libraries, special event days such as Canada Day, farmers markets, etc. And the second item is $65,000 to complete the radio frequency identification project at Bob Pretty and McGill Libraries.
All right. Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Which brings us to item 1 of the manager's report. And item 1, the purpose is to request to bring forward a bylaw to appropriate $1,160,820 from capital reserves to finance 7 projects. If I can have a mover. Councillor McDonnell, Councillor Jordan, any discussion? Councillor Dhaliwal.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I'm pleased to see there are 7 different projects advanced by the Parks, Recreation, and Culture Services. I just wanted to quickly speak about a couple of them, which I believe are long overdue, and I'm pleased to see that we are now proceeding with the feasibility studies in both of these projects. First one I'd like to speak about is South Burnaby Arena facility. Your Worship, this is a study that's now will be undertaken because for many, many years we have heard from our users of Ice Arena, and we recognize that the arena at Burnaby Lake is reaching sort of the end of its life cycle, and we need to prepare ourselves for another facility. It appears that the staff is now reaching a decision about the location. It would be in South Burnaby, so this study will give a good analysis of both the needs as well as the location, the cost, so we can move forward with constructing this facility. So I'm glad to see that one. I'm also, as I mentioned, about the Burnaby Lake Arena. The second study would be with the C.G. Brown pool as well as the Burnaby Lake Arena replacement. C.G. Brown pool now is perhaps about a little over maybe 50 years. And as we know, that has also reached the sort of life limit of the facility. Similarly, the lake, the Burnaby Lake Arena, also opened about the same time. Both of those require upgrade or completely rebuilding. But it looks like in this case, the study is focusing on rebuilding of those two facilities. This would be a great enhancement to our police, our precinct. Sports precinct in the Central Valley, both the Bill Copeland Arena and Burnaby Lake Arena are well used for tournaments and other special events. So I'm very pleased to see this study come forward as well. I am just hoping that there's some timeline about this one, Your Worship. Maybe there's some. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dallowell. Just a little comment. I remember when the earth was cooling, C.G. Brown Pool, I went there for swim lessons when I was, believe it or not, a Boy Scout. So I don't know if I graduated with distinction from the Scouts, but anyways, the pool's been around a long time. All right, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor, opposed, and carried. Item 2. And this is the 2015 and 16 capital infrastructure funding request. This is to request approval and funding for design of the 2016 capital infrastructure program and completion of the 2015 infrastructure construction program. And we have the Myrtle Sanitary Pump Station and also the Boundary Sanitary Pump Station. Seeing no discussion. Yeah, did we have a seconder? Councillor Kang, thank you. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, opposed, carried. On item 3, Remembrance Day Parade South Burnaby, and the purpose is to seek council approval for a Remembrance Day Parade on Wednesday, November the 11th. A mover, Councillor Jordan, Councillor Wang. All those in favor, opposed, carried. Item 4, a Remembrance Day moved and seconded, and the subject's Remembrance Day Parade North Burnaby on November 11th of this year, and the purpose to seek council approval for Remembrance Day Parade Wednesday, November the 11th of this year. Seeing no discussion, questions called. All those in favor, opposed, and carried. On item 5.5, the subject being retirements. Been moved and seconded, and the purpose is to inform council of the following retirements from January to June of 2015. And the January retirements were Mr. Lee Goodman, Mr. James Pickering, 34 years of service. Mr. Goodman had 37 years of service with Parks and Rec, and Mrs. Maria Shirato, who had 24 years of service with the Parks and Recreation. February retirements, Ms. Sharon Wenslaff. Ms. Wenslaff retired from the employment of the city after 36 years of service. Mr. Gary Mockler. Mr. Mockler retired after 30 years of service with Parks and Rec. Ms. Linda Maeve Orr. Ms. Orr retired from employment with the city after 21 years of service in the Parks and Recreation. In March, we had retirements of Ms. Cindy Maltman. Ms. Maltman retired from employment with the city on March the 31st after 22 years of service with the Burnaby Fire Department, and retired as a position of Fire Lieutenant. Mr. Alan Sale. Mr. Sale retired from employment with the city after 33 years of service with the Burnaby Fire Department, and retired as a fire captain. Ms. Lori Gibbard. Ms. Gibbard retired from employment with the city after 34 years of service within the Parks and Rec. Mr. Robert Renger. Mr. Renger retired from employment with the city after 33 years of service with the Planning Department, and retired as in a position of Planner 3. Ms. Sherry Yannicone. Ms. Yannicone retired from employment with the city after 25 years of service within the Parks and Rec. April retirements, Mr. Dan Mulligan. Mr. Mulligan retired from the employment with the city after 34 years of service, retiring as the Assistant Chief Building Inspector. Ms. Bernice Dawson retired from employment with the city after 31 years of service with the RCMP and as a court liaison officer. Mr. Craig McKenzie. Mr. McKenzie retired from employment with the city after 19 years and retired as a garage service technician. Mr. Patrick Leong. Mr. Leong retired from the city after 15 years of service within our information services. May retirements, Mr. Randy McCluskey. Mr. McCluskey retired from employment with the city after 29 years of service. And he started as a lifeguard within the Parks and Rec and retired as a fire captain within the Burnaby Fire Department. Mr. Dan Kennedy retired from employment with the city after 27 years of service. He retired in January of, retired as a fire captain. He had been a fire captain since January of 2012. Ms. Kathy Jones retired from employment with the city after 27 years of services, working with the Burnaby RCMP, and she retired in her position as Supervisor Financial Services. Ms. Roseanne Eklund. Ms. Eklund retired from employment with the city after 15 years of service, and she retired as a Clerk 3 Physical Plant Maintenance. Mr. Leif Bjorseth. Mr. Bjorseth retired from the city after 13 years of service and had retired in the position of Assistant Director, Infrastructure Planning and Development. And in June, our two retirements, Mr. Richard Corden. Mr. Corden retired after 35 years of service. He retired as a Foreman 2 in the Waterworks. And Mr. Rick G. retired from employment with the city after 35 years and retired as an Equipment Operator 2 within the Solid Waste and Recycling. And we wish them all well. I think, Mr. Clerk, the total was approximately 609 years of service to the city. So we wish them all well in their retirement, and we thank them all for their service. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item 5.6. Moved and seconded, and this is a contract award, Fraser Foreshore Diking Environmental Compensation Project. The purpose to obtain council approval to award a construction contract for the Fraser Foreshore Diking Environmental Compensation Project. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item 5.7. Councillor Kang, seconded by Councillor Jordan. And the subject is a contract award 2015-46 Myrtle Pump Station upgrade, and to obtain council approval to award a construction contract for the Myrtle Pump Station upgrade. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? And carried. Item 5.8. Moved and seconded. This is a contract award 2015-42 Minor Bridge Rehabilitation Program. Purpose to obtain council approval to award a construction contract for the 2015 Minor Bridge Rehabilitation Program. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item 9. Moved and seconded. This contract award again, E8 2016 Water Main Replacement and Road Rehab Program on the South Slope. Purpose to obtain council approval to award a contract for the engineering, design, and construction administrative services for the 2016 Water Main Replacement and Road Rehab Program South Slopes. Seeing no discussion, question called. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item 5.10. And the subject is contract award E6 2016 Water Main Replacement Road Rehab Stanley Project. The purpose to obtain council approval to award a contract for the engineering, design, and construction administrative services for the 2016 Water Main Replacement and Road Rehab Program, the Stanley Project. And seeing no discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? And carried. Item 11. Always an exciting report. This is the contract extension for the supply and delivery of sand and gravel. Purpose to obtain council approval for a one-year contract extension for the supply and delivery of sand and gravel. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item 12. Moved and seconded, and the subject rezoning reference 1434, and this is the Sports Complex Expansion, Burnaby Lake Sports Complex. And I believe this is the 8 rinks, an expansion at 8 rinks. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? And carried. Bear with me here. Item 13, these are rezoning applications. Item 13, moved by Councillor McDonnell, seconded by Councillor Kang. All those in favor, opposed, and carried. And we have a number of 9 rezoning applications. Item 1, and this is for the rezoning, or an M2 General District rezoning at 2242 Alpha, and the purpose is to, or the recommendation being, to work towards a suitable plan for a public hearing at a later date. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, opposed, and carried. Item 2. And item 2 is rezoning at 2425 Beta. The purpose to permit construction of a multi-phase high-rise residential development with above and below grade structured parking. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, opposed, and carried. Moved and seconded, and the purpose to permit the installation of a rooftop antenna facility and an at-grade equipment compound, and this is to work with the applicant for a future public hearing. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, opposed, and carried. Moved and seconded, item 4, and this is to permit the establishment of a comprehensive sign plan in order to enable future signage opportunities for the BCIT main campus, and this is again to work with the applicant towards a future public hearing. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, opposed, and carried. Item 5. Moved and seconded, and this is 4431 Dominion Street, better known as the Casino. This is to permit the construction of a new restaurant patio. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, opposed, carried. Item 6. Moved and seconded, and this is to amend the existing CD zoning to permit a multi-phased expansion of the Bridge Studios. I think probably our first movie studios in the city, but seeing no discussion, all those in favor, opposed, carried. Item 7. And again, this is 5177 Sidley, and to permit construction of an infill townhouse development and to work with the applicant for a future public hearing. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, opposed, and carried. And item 9. 8? Did I miss one? Sorry, item 8, yeah. In my excitement, I missed item 8. Item 8, moved and seconded, and the purpose is to permit the construction of a townhouse development, 7141, 7145 16th Avenue, and this is again to lead to a future public hearing. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, opposed, and carried. Moved and seconded, and this is 6540 Thomas Street, the Scandinavian Community Center, and again this is to work towards a future public hearing. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, opposed, and carried. Motion to rise and report. Moved and seconded, all those in favor, opposed, carried. Motion to adopt the report of the committee. Councillor McDonnell, Councillor Johnson, all those in favor, opposed, and carried. Bylaws, Councillor McDonnell. You're doing bylaws. Seconder, moved and seconded, Councillor Dollywell. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, opposed, carried.
For consideration and third reading, I move the bylaws 13282, 13351, 13465 now be considered and read a third time.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, opposed, carried.
For reconsideration and final adoption, I move that bylaws 13505, 13506, 13507, 13508, 13509, 13510, 13511, 13512, 13513, 13514, 13515, 13516 now be reconsidered, finally adopted, signed by the Mayor and the Clerk, and the corporate seal affixed thereto.
There we are. Moved and seconded. All those in favor, opposed, and carried. New business. Councillor McDonnell. Oh, Councillor Jordan, sorry.
Thank you, Worship. I think I need to make a motion because we're changing the start time of the Community Development Committee tomorrow night. Or did we change? We can do that.
Mr. Clerk.
We changed the rule.
As a result of a recent amendment to our procedure bylaw earlier this year, the chair can make that. It's good to make the announcement, but a motion won't be required. Okay, so I would like to publicly announce that the committee's times has changed the start time until 6:30 p.m. tomorrow evening.
All right.
In the Council Committee room.
All right.
Thank you.
Seeing no further new business, any inquiries? And seeing no inquiries, motion to adjourn. Moved, seconded. All those in favor, opposed, and carried. Thanks to my colleagues. Thank you to our diligent staff for keeping me in line and keeping this meeting moving efficiently ahead. And thanks to all the citizens and our members of our two work bodies, our Fire and Rescue Service, and I see the president of our QP local, Simon Challenger, in attendance. Thanks everyone for coming. The meeting's adjourned.